Fallout New Vegas is one of the highest acclaimed games of the 2010s. It really has a little bit of everything for everyone. Guns. Socialism. Furries. Truly a modern masterpiece. Despite all of its praise, there are some who still think about what it could have been. New Vegas had an extremely short dev time, so there was a lot of content that was left on the cutting room floor. This has caused a large subsect of the fan base to petition for a New Vegas remake. And by petition, I mean posting about it on r/Fallout New Vegas. But this does bring up an interesting question. What would a remake look like? What would change, and what would stay the same? Most importantly, does Fallout New Vegas need a remake? Now when I say remake, I mean just that. A from the ground up remake of the game. Basically, I'm talking about The Last of Us on PlayStation 5, not The Last of Us on PlayStation 4. Okay, that's actually a really confusing... I'm specifying this because I don't think there's really anybody out there who's adamant about not wanting a New Vegas re-release. I mean, there might be, knowing some New Vegas fans, but as a whole, everyone's cool with it. I've compiled a detailed list of pros and cons of a remake, so without further hesitation, onto the list. As a diehard fan of New Vegas, even I have to admit that the game looks like shit. Okay, that might be a bit harsh, but New Vegas was never known for its graphical fidelity. I remember playing it shortly after release, and even then remembering how dated it looked. I've known quite a few people who couldn't get into the game solely due to the visuals. Now graphics aren't everything, I understand that, but can you imagine playing New Vegas with modern graphics? It's enough to make any Legion fanboy shed a tear. No, I'm not asking for anything crazy graphically, but if it looked like, say, Starfield, I'd be pretty happy. If you've sunk any substantial amount of time in a Bethesda game, you know just how large the modding scene is. These hardworking gentlemen devote hours of their free time to fix these games that billion-dollar companies just can't be bothered to do. New Vegas, maybe some more than most games, has benefited the most from this mod support. A new game would erase 13 years of mod history. Now to their credit, Bethesda always have been a pretty mod-friendly developer, especially compared to some. I'm sure these mod authors would transition over to the remake quickly, and the majority of popular mods would get remade, but what about the ones that don't? A New Vegas remake would bring with it a much needed release on modern consoles. As of making this video, New Vegas is yet to be brought to consoles past the PlayStation 3 360 generation. Now this is less needed for Xbox due to backwards compatibility, but if you're on PlayStation or Nintendo, you have no way of playing the game. The more people that can play this classic game, the better, so I see no reason why this wouldn't be an all-around win. I personally play on PC, but I gotta keep a lookout for all my console players out there. Do you want to know how to make a New Vegas fan happy? Trick question. You can't. It's no secret there's a small yet very, very vocal minority of New Vegas fans that just bitch all the time. Like, I can't even pretend anymore. They are just insufferable. My point being, no matter the quality of the remake, people will find a reason to complain. Bethesda could perfectly recreate every pixel on Marcus's fat f***ing ass, and these Redditors would complain that the original was so much deeper and more complex. It's really just a lose-lose situation for them, and for us since we have to listen to them. Now anyone who's ever played this game will tell you that it doesn't just work. New Vegas is notorious for all the bugs and glitches littering the game. It can make it a real headache to play today, especially on console. If you want to play it without having Fallout.exe has stopped working burnt into your retinas, you either have to download a plethora of mods or, well actually that's really the only way to get it to work. Thanks again guys. Now new games in 2023 haven't really had the best track record when it comes to bugs, but Starfield was relatively bug-free for a Bethesda game. Now I'm sure a remake would have its fair share of bugs, but there's no way it could be worse than base game New Vegas at launch, right? As far as AAA developers go, the team over at Bethesda is pretty small. It's the reason why we get a new game once every 15 years. So this brings up the issue that if they're working on a New Vegas remake, they're not working on Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5, at least not at full capacity. It seems like theoretically one of two things will happen. One, they dump all their resources into the remake, and while the remake is good, they've spent potentially years of dev time on it that could have gone in other projects. Or two, They devote a small subset of the team to work on it, so they have more time to work on other projects, but the quality of the remake suffers. I can't tell you which of these is a better outcome. All I can say is no matter what, we lose. Like I said earlier, New Vegas has a plethora of cut content. Some of this content includes a more fleshed out Legion, a larger uncut strip, and some sweet post-ending content. New Vegas is I and many others' favorite game of all time, so the idea of more content has me creaming my dirty pre-war relaxedware. Many of my biggest gripes with New Vegas would seemingly be solved if the content was restored. Obsidian had such large-scale ideas for the game, and it would be amazing to see them fulfill these without having to worry about a time constraint or console limitations. It could make this game almost feel brand new to even the most die-hard fans. Yeah, cut content is both a pro and a con in a way. I know I just gushed about how much I wanted it, but let me explain. Cut content is cut for a reason. Sure, it can be due to something like time constraints, but it could also be for more valid reasons, like it didn't fit the game's final vision, or it just sucked. It really comes down to whether or not you want to risk tarnishing the game's reputation by including a bunch of stuff that wasn't included at launch. Sure, it could all be amazing and elevate the game to a whole new level, or it could just stick out like a sore thumb and not fit at all. Not only that, but who's going to be the one to implement this content? Bethesda? There would be an uproar if they laid a finger on New Vegas, let alone add in new content. Obsidian? They're not the same developers they were back in 2010, with the likes of Chris Avellone as well as multiple people who were key to New Vegas' success no longer at the company. And that brings us perfectly back to our initial question. Does Fallout New Vegas need a remake? This might be an unpopular opinion, but no, I don't think a remake is needed. As interested as I'd be in one, I just don't have enough faith in the modern industry to pull it off. I'd rather have the game be remembered for how it was than to have its corpse resuscitated just to make a quick buck. However, the game 100% needs a remaster or a port or just some way to play the game on modern consoles. Better yet, give us a sequel with the same tone and themes as New Vegas. I will always prefer a new game over a remake every day of the week. It's better to preserve how the game was than to change it to fit today's standards. So now I'm passing on the question to you. Do you think New Vegas needs a remake? Whatever your answer is, be sure to leave in the comments. I'm actually really curious to see your guys' response. If you liked the video, liking and subscribing is the best way to help the channel out a lot. You can join the channel Discord by clicking the link down below. Lastly, big thank you to all the channel's members. If you're interested in supporting the channel directly, as well as unlocking a few benefits, be sure to click that join button down below. I think that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.